Good morning, dear hearts. We are on lesson 14, a personal favorite. Please subscribe. God did not create a meaningless world. It's such a great lesson. Now I'm going to read from what I wrote first and then go into the lesson. God did not create a meaningless world. Another of my favorite lessons. The past few lessons have all been about the idea of the world being a meaningless place. However, we have also been offered the idea that a meaningless anything is not actually possible. But why does the world so often feel like a place without any meaning? Again, it is because I have projected my fear-filled thoughts onto the world. This lesson makes it very clear that this fearful, meaningless world was not God's doing. The blank canvas idea of the world is again offered to us, that the thoughts that we have written on the world are not the thoughts of God, and therefore are not actually real. The way we know they are not real is because the thoughts that come from a fearful mind are filled with fear. Fear is not part of the creative mind of God. This is a lesson that begins to deal with some of the explicit experiences in this world, such as war, illness, disasters. All of this, we are told, are not real because God did not create them. This is a comforting thought to some, but simply raises more questions to others. These events are all meaningless in a world that is bathed in unconditional love and whole-mindedness. All of this becomes clearer, if not more acceptable, as the workbook progresses. And now to go into today's actual lesson. It tells us that the idea for today is, of course, the reason why a meaningless world is impossible. God did not create a meaningless world. And whatever God did not create, in truth, does not exist. And everything that does exist exists as God created it. The world you see has nothing to do with reality. It is of your own making, and it does not exist. So again, those of you who come to my classes or have been hanging out with me here for a while, you have heard me say this again, and it is the difference between create and make. And it seems perhaps it's subtle. It seems perhaps that I am just harping on something here. But the truth is, when we understand the nuance, let's call it a nuance, I'm not sure it really is, but the difference between make and create, it really helps this whole course to be more readily understandable. God creates. What is created is eternal. What is made has a limited lifespan. We will experience it. It will be an experience, but it will not last forever, because anything that is made has a beginning, a middle, and an end. What is created eternally. It is an eternal thought from the eternal mind of God, and it has no opposite, it has no conclusion. It continues. The exercises for today are to be practiced with eyes closed throughout. Mind searching period should be short, a minute at most, and do not have more than 3 practice periods today with today's idea, unless you're really comfortable with it, which you may not be, and that's okay. And if you're uncomfortable after 1 or 2 practice periods, then let that go for now. Remember, we don't do the workbook only one time. You will come back to it. So the idea, we're going to paragraph 3, the idea for today is another step in learning to let go, Elsa, the thoughts that you have written on the world and see the Word of God in their place. That was what we were told in lesson 12, that underneath all the thoughts and the words that we have written on this world, what we have placed here, underneath all of that is the Word of God. The early steps in this exchange, which can truly be called salvation, let's use the word freedom in that because that's what it will feel like, can be quite difficult and even quite painful. Some of them will lead you directly into fear, these ideas about this world being meaningless. You will not be left there. You will go far beyond it. Our direction for this course, our direction is toward perfect safety and perfect peace. Remember, we will never be left comfortless. So now it goes into the actual practice, and with your eyes closed, think of the horrors, the horrible things in this world, and let them cross your mind. And so that each one happens, then, deny its reality. Deny that it's really true. God did not create it, and so it is not real. For instance, God did not create that war. It is not real. God did not create that disaster, that hurricane, that tornado. It is not real. God did not create the airplane crash. It is not real. And now we can use other subjects for this application, things that we are personally concerned with, and things about ourselves, what we think might happen, and we're worried about it. That's fear, by the way. Or to anyone that we are close with, okay? In each case, name the disaster or name the disease. Don't say, for example, do not say that God did not create illness. Say heart attack, COVID, cancer, whatever the specific is, because we need to be specific here. This is your personal repertory of horrors in which that you're looking at. These things are part of the world you see. Some of them are shared illusions. Others believe in them and have the experience of them as well. And others are part of your personal hell. It does not matter. What God did not create can only be in your own mind apart from His. I am either a part of God or I am apart from God. It feels like I might be saying that often this year. So if I am thinking this, experience this apart from God, then that's why it has no meaning, because everything that has meaning is of God and is eternal. In recognizing this fact, conclude the practice periods by repeating today's idea. God did not create a meaningless world. And of course, we can use this exercise, as we can use all of them, for anything that occurs during the day that seems to be upsetting and worrisome to us, and just address it directly and say that God did not create a meaningless world. He did not create blank, that situation or that emotion that you're experiencing, and so it is not real. Again, remember those lines, the shared experience. Things in this world certainly appear to be real, but if it is something that is not eternal, that's why God did not create it. God only creates the eternal. You are eternal. You are an eternal thought from within the mind of God. I find great clarity in this lesson. It's one of the reasons it's a favorite. I hope this helped. Please like, please share, please subscribe, please smile. Please smile at everything that you are learning and everything that your mind is being freed of, that you don't have to carry this heaviness with you anymore. Like, share, smile, subscribe, breathe, comment, and pray that these recognitions will happen very soon, if not already. Namaste.